Ask for the truth on behalf of Tammy Jones concerning love life issues. I ask for guidance in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love and non-violence. Blessed be to the truth always. And we cut the deck for you there, Tammy, and we'll take a look and see what's been going on, what's happening, and then what's about to happen. We'll do a past, present, future, 3 cards. And the first card we deal, of course, is the past. That represents or symbolises what's been going on, the meaning of that card. Symbolises what's been going on over the past 3 or 4 weeks or so. The next card represents the present. This is a period of time between now and now. Or I suppose you could say about up to 3 days ago to 3 days ahead. That sort of thing, isn't it? In the sense of it's a moon phase behind and a moon phase ahead, and also a moon phase now. The moon phase ahead is there, so you could say about 3 or 4 weeks between now and the next 3 or 4 weeks or so. And each phase usually lasts about 6 days, doesn't it? No, only 6 or 7 days. So you usually say 3 days coming and 3 days going. That's usually what you can do with moon phases. So what's been going on over the past, over the recent past few weeks there? I suppose you could say between now and this time last month, between now and the 10th of February, couldn't you? I suppose just before Valentine's Day, really. If with it being a love life type reading, you'll have to. Let's see though what's been going on in your love life, or lack of it, or whatever it may be. And the meaning of this card, of course, as it is interpreted, and it's related. Its interpretation or meaning, as you would say, is related to your love life in the recent past, because you mentioned that, didn't you, about, because that's your question, you can relate it to it. Notice here we've got the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords. Swords is related to the element of air. That's, I suppose, any number between the numbers 2 and 3, correction, which is creative and transmissive powers, communication, knowledge, the seeking of knowledge, and all that, and all that sort of thing. It's related to, isn't it? Swords. And of course the number 5 is I suppose you say a watery number, because it's any number between 4 and 9. Not 5, so 7, correction. Any number between 4 and 9 is to do with water, mental and moral qualities. So you could say it's the watery part of air, or mental and moral qualities of creative and transmissive powers. The Seven of Swords in this particular case, of course, for you, 7 is to do with weakness, isn't it? You have the analysis of the 6 and then the weakness of the 7 before the challenge of the 8. And clearly there's been a weakness in communication. I would have been a lack of communication, but weak communication. In that sort of a regard, could, of course, refer to cruelty, couldn't it, as well? there could be an element of cruelty involved. And that can or could have proved a problem. Well, I suppose when you mention cruelty, you mentioned cruelty in that sense. It's definitely somebody's been sticking the knife in. And I don't know about bullying you. That'd be more of an oppression type of thing, wouldn't it? Really, that'd be more like a 10 of wands type of thing. But certainly here, there's the weakening of creativity and communication. Maybe has led to some form of somebody treating you not very nicely. Maybe inflicting some form of a torture upon you or whatever. I'm sort of feeling that as if you know what this is. I would go as far as saying abuse if I felt I had to. But it has got that sort of feel to it, hasn't it? You got the 6 swords there with one in the middle. The one in the middle, I suppose, taking command of things and being wielded in some way. So all the others may appear to be, I suppose, packed away or hung up. Nevertheless, there's one that's loose, and I got a sense as though somebody has been let loose upon you. Just looking at that, somebody has been let loose upon you and stuck the knife in. Yes, let's move on to see what's going on now, and let's just see what the present is about. Is this the effect of what's happened, or is it the cause of what is about to happen, or both? Or is the past and the future all the same thing? It's just time that separates them, so it's all part of the same thing. Maybe. Let's pull out this card here, excuse me, and we'll just flip it over nice and slowly, not to reveal its energy too quickly there. And notice here, you've got the energy there, the 4 of wands. Correction, the 3 of wands. Or as this deck calls it, battens, the 3 of battens. 3, of course, 2's company, 3's a crowd. 3 is as we discovered, is to do with the element of air, isn't it? Only the 2 numbers 2 and 3 are related to the element of air. Wands is energy, it's to do with the element of fire. So that's the number 1, isn't it? And 1 is to do with fire. It's to do with spiritual essence. So I suppose you could say creative and transmissive powers of spiritual essence. Whereas before you had mental and moral qualities of creative and transmissive powers, now this is manifest into creative transmissive powers of spiritual essence. And of course, it lends itself to that sort of idea, doesn't it? This is with what's happened and so on. Crowley refers to Crowley refers to the Three of Wands as the Lord of Virtue. It can, I suppose, point toward one's ingenious abilities, maybe magic, maybe. But also it can relate to being savvy, being streetwise as well, can't it? Crow's magic, the High Priestess Londa Marks in the Crow's Magic Tarot refers to it as that. Virtue, patience as a virtue, but nevertheless being streetwise as well. Why would you have to be streetwise or sort of... Why? I get a sense as though you've got to grow up very quickly or learn very quickly in some way because of what's happened. I'm getting that from it. These cards, of course, are minor arcana cards, so with minor arcana energies you have power to change it. You have had power to change the situation, the cruel, harsh conditions that you were under. You've had power to change that, the torture that you were going through, maybe feeling as though somebody is crucifying you in some way. You've had power to change that. Now, if you're dead or not, I don't know, but you certainly were able to do. You were able to do it, and right now you're able to change things. Able to change things, being streetwise, being savvy, being using really about your imagination, but certainly your abilities. I suppose two's company, three's a crowd, but nevertheless, in this particular case, the Lord of Virtue, it's as if there's a need as well. There's a need for you to do what you've got to do right now. Only question is, are you doing it, or is it left by the wayside in some way? That's the question, isn't it? I want to pull the next card and see what energy that is. As we've sort of established before, if it's negative, then it can actually, strangely, ironically, be a positive thing in the sense of forewarned as forearmed. Whereas if positive, of course, beware of complacency. We'll see what it is, though. We'll just flip the card nice and slowly, not to disturb its energy, or anything too quickly there, and we will reveal more swords. You've gone from swords back to swords, through you've gone from air to fire back to air again. The Ten of Swords. Crowley refers to the Ten of Swords as the Lord of Ruin, doesn't he? And he sort of brings that home, doesn't he? That whatever abuse or whatever you were experiencing just recently, you've had to be streetwise. You've had to stand up to it, but maybe it would have been a good idea. But nevertheless, whatever it is you feel you've got to do right now will, in some way, in some capacity, lead to ruin. It will lead to that. This really, I suppose, is a warning, isn't it? In the sense that there's much misery to come. But I suppose as it destroys you, you will learn and become even stronger. As Crowley says, one must fall many times before one is raised up, and that's the key to it, really, isn't it? That whatever you basically, whatever you try and do, you can't get out of this one. You all you can do is survive, really, for the foreseeable future. But for the foreseeable future, of course, you can't. In that sense, it will destroy you. From a love life angle, I don't know what the love life angle is, but certainly this seems to be pointing more to maybe what's been happening, and its effects upon you. And well, it'll destroy you as the only thing that I can say, really, on that. But the 10, of course, 10 is 1 plus 0, isn't it? So that's 1, isn't it? It's a turnaround, a bit like the end of a song. The end of a song, the blues, you do the turnaround, and then you start, and you start all over again, don't you? And it's a similar sort of thing to that, where whatever's about to happen to you, although ruinous, literally in that sense, although a lot of misery is to be expected from that, nevertheless, it will be a turning point. I suppose if you use the turnaround analogy of the blues, it will be a turning point for the next cycle, for the next phase, in this point in your life. Which isn't really, I suppose, a bad thing. Right now you are having to shapeshift in the sense that the fox, usually the fox can symbolise one's abilities to shapeshift. The fox brother can give you the magic maybe to 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 adapt to the situation, which is all you can do right now, isn't it? But for whatever torment is to come, yes, it will be for a brief moment. It may seem like an eternity or feel like an eternity when it's happening, but this has got to happen. If you're already in a relationship, then we know what that's going to be. If not, then. But I got a sense that this is a spin-off from an old relationship or one that's just finished, and learning to cope with not being with them now is one thing, but the hurt and the pain and the grief or the torture that one will experience in the sense of the misery and torment that comes from the being crucified and tortured, it can only be broken up in the interim with having to adapt to the change of what's been going on here, and that's all I'm sort of getting from that. And I think with that, just for now, until maybe this time next month, maybe when things have calmed down a bit, when the next cycle begins, you'll know when the next cycle begins. Anyway, you'll know. I can assure you of that. You'll know. But for now, we'll cast a shadow. These cards have spoken.